Indonesia, throughout 2023, underwent a series of events that took place in the country throughout the year. In the country's politics, Indonesia has begun a myriad of activities that started and eventually will lead to the presidential and vice presidential election next year in 2024. The first debate of the nation's presidential candidates went smoothly, giving the public a view on which candidate they would be in favor for, as voters would be casting their votes in next year's election. Meanwhile, airstrikes by Israel continue to pound Gaza as of this day, with the Palestinian death toll rounding up to nearly 20,000. In a show of solidarity, Indonesia dispatched humanitarian aid to Palestine, which included essential food supplies, medical equipment, blankets, and tents specifically tailored to meet Gaza's requirements. The first phase of relief delivery involved 3 aircrafts carrying a total of 51.5 tons of aid. The Indonesian government says that more assistance will be delivered to Gaza. In the meantime, another crisis looms: climate change. It is still one thing that not only Indonesia is facing, but also the whole world's countries throughout the year. According to BNPB, 3,028 natural disasters in Indonesia that happened between January and September 2023, with the most common type of disaster being hydrometeorology, such as flood, followed by extreme weather, forest and land fires, landslide, and droughts. I'm Siska Becker. This is 2023 in Review Domestic Affairs. Politics in Indonesia has always been an interesting topic of discussion, especially this year, where 2023 is the year where a series of events that would lead to the eventual national election of 2024 begins. As of December this year, 2 debate sessions of presidential and vice presidential candidates have taken place. The debate has given the public a closer view on who they will be voting for president, as the country will be hosting the presidential election on February 14, 2024. But not only that, Indonesia has also successfully hosted the ASEAN Summit that took the theme ASEAN Matters, Epicentrum of Growth. Now here's the recap of political events in Indonesia throughout the year.
Malaysian Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim made his first bilateral visit to Indonesia since he took office in late 2022. President Joko Widodo welcomed the arrival of Prime Minister Anwar at the Bogor Presidential Palace on January 9th. Both leaders discussed topics such as protection for Indonesian migrant workers and an MOU related to border demarcation expected to be completed this year.
Saya meyakini bahwa ASEAN masih penting dan
President Joko Widodo symbolically kicked off Indonesia's chairmanship of ASEAN on January 29th at the Hotel Indonesia Roundabout in Jakarta. Indonesia put forward its chairmanship theme as ASEAN Matters, Epicentrum of Growth. The ASEAN Matters describes Indonesia's effort to highlight importance and relevance of ASEAN for the global communities. Meanwhile, the Epicentrum of Growth shows Indonesia's intent on underscoring ASEAN as one of the few growth regions in the world. President Joko Widodo welcomed the official visit of Timor-Leste Prime Minister Taur Ruak on February 13th. Prime Minister Ruak discussed several bilateral topics, including follow-ups to the visit of Timor-Leste President Ramos Horta in 2022. The official visit of Prime Minister Taur Ruak also coincides with the reinstatement of visa-free status for Timor-Leste citizens by the Indonesian government, which was temporarily halted earlier due to COVID-19 pandemic. The 42nd ASEAN Summit was held on May 10th and 11th in Labuan Bajo, East Nusa Tenggara. A total of 8 ASEAN leaders attended the summit. Thailand was still holding its election and couldn't attend the summit, while Myanmar was represented by non-political group following the coup d'etat in the country. For the first time, Timor-Leste leader was invited as an observer at the summit as part of its ascension process to become a full-fledged member of ASEAN. The summit's resolution included protection for migrant workers, resolution of Myanmar conflict, regional electric vehicle ecosystem, strengthening local currencies, and digital payment connectivity. Following the successful organization of the 42nd ASEAN Summit, Indonesia held the 43rd ASEAN Summit at capital city Jakarta between September 5th and 7th. The 43rd ASEAN Summit was attended not only by leaders of Southeast Asia countries, but also by leaders from partner countries such as China, the United States, and Russia. Myanmar conflict and South China Sea dispute were among the main discussions. President Joko Widodo underscored Myanmar conflict was not easily resolved. Under Indonesia's chairmanship, ASEAN undertaken 145 engagements involving 70 stakeholders to resolve conflict in Myanmar. Efforts through implementation of a 5-point consensus and Troika will be continued, even though Indonesia's chairmanship ended. Jakarta provincial government instructed civil servants and private sector employees in the capital to work from home during the ASEAN Summit. Air quality in Jakarta improved substantially during the ASEAN Summit, thanks in part to work-from-home policy implemented. Chinese Prime Minister joined Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway test ride. On the last day of the ASEAN Summit, Chinese Prime Minister Li Qiang joined the test ride on Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway, departed from Halim Station in East Jakarta to Karawang Station. President Joko Widodo held 13 bilateral meetings during ASEAN Summit in Jakarta, including bilateral meeting with Japan on September 7th and with China on September 8th. President Joko Widodo met Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida to discuss partnership enhancement into comprehensive strategic partnership. Meanwhile, the bilateral meeting between President Widodo and Chinese Prime Minister Li Qiang touched upon various aspects, such as domestic downstream industries, energy transition, and infrastructure connectivity between both nations. Indonesia announced its stance in its response to escalating conflict in Gaza after the October 7th attack. Through Twitter or X app, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs expressed concern about the escalation of conflict in Palestine and Israel. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs called on immediate ceasefire in Gaza Strip to prevent more human casualties. The ministry also called immediate resolution of the root cause of the conflict, which is the occupation of Palestine by Israel.
Once again, in 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Exit.
Indonesia hosted archipelagic and island states for AIS Forum Summit in Bali on October 10th and 11th. The summit carried the theme Fostering Collaboration, Enabling Innovation for Our Ocean and Our Future. A total of 32 participating countries attended the first ever AIS Forum Summit, including heads of state from Indonesia, Micronesia, Sao Tome and Principe, Timor-Leste, as well as high-level officials from Japan, Philippines, and United Kingdom. General Election Commission, or KPU, opened the registration for presidential candidates from October 19th to 25th. On the first day of registration, Anies Baswedan Muhaimin Iskandar and Ganjar Pranowo Mahfud MD pairings submitted official documents to register for the presidential and vice presidential ticket. The third presidential candidate, Prabowo Subianto, registered on the final day, alongside running mate Gibran Rakabuming Raka, the eldest son of President Joko Widodo. President Joko Widodo dispatched the first batch of humanitarian aid for Palestine on November 4th. The aid consisted of food supplies, medical equipment, blankets, and tents. 2 Hercules military aircraft carried the logistics from Halim Perdana Kusuma Airport in Jakarta, which would then be distributed from the Egyptian border to Gaza. General Election Commission, or KPU, officially announced the presidential and vice presidential candidates on November 13th after they passed medical examination and document verification process. The following day, on November 14th, KPU proceeded with ballot drawing. The pairing of Anies Baswedan Muhaimin Iskandar drew number 1. Prabowo Subianto Gibran Rakabuming, number 2. And Ganjar Pranowo Mahfud MD drew number 3. Those numbers, alongside pairings pictures, will be printed on voting paper to make it easier for the public in casting their votes when they head to polls next year. The campaign period kicked off on November 28th and would be run through February 10th, 2024. President Joko Widodo dispatched the second batch of humanitarian aid for Gaza on November 20th. This aid was coming from the government, public donation, and businessmen, totaling 21 tons. The aid consists of medicines, hospital equipment, food supplies, and other necessities items. Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi said Indonesia collaborated with several countries to stop Israeli attack in Gaza under mandate from the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or OIC.
Indonesia ini bisa disalurkan tidak hanya pada saat direspon, dan untuk membangun kembali.
The first presidential candidates debate session held on Tuesday, 12 December at the KPU. Presidential candidate Anies Baswedan said that Indonesia is a country of law and not a country of power. Therefore, he believed that power should be regulated by the applicable laws. Presidential candidate Prabowo Subianto highlighted that issues on legal, human rights, improvement of government services, corruption eradication, and protection for all groups in society are imperative. And presidential candidate Ganjar Pranowo presented his vision for equitable development by ensuring human resources in Indonesia can gain the same access to education and jobs.
Climate change is one of the things that the world's countries, including Indonesia, is facing throughout the year. Natural phenomena such as El Niño and extreme heat wave is just some of the examples of the effect of the drastic change of climate in Indonesia. Alarming air pollution that the capital city of Jakarta faces is no exception. If these climate change issues are not dealt fast, there would be long-term repercussions that we will be facing. Here are the highlights of stories that we have compiled for you on climate changes and also a series of natural disasters that occurred in the country in 2023.
A fire broke out of the Pelumpang fuel depot in North Jakarta, causing fatalities and destroying houses. Data from Jakarta Regional Disaster Management Agency showed at least 33 were killed, while dozens others were injured. The fire at the largest fuel depot operated by state-owned energy company Pertamina was caused by technical disruptions. President Joko Widodo unveiled two possible solutions to avoid a reoccurrence of the deadly fire that razed Pelumpang fuel depot in North Jakarta. First, local residents were to be relocated. Second, to move out of the depot to a nearby area. The president instructed ministers and state-owned energy company Pertamina, as the operator of the depot, to come up with a swift decision, as either solution would require years to be implemented. President Jokowi added in the immediate term, safety of residents in the densely populated area of Pelumpang must be prioritized above all else. Minister of Environment and Forestry Siti Nurbaya Bakar lauded the 34th ASEAN senior officials on environment meeting as the momentum to strengthen commitment to a better planet. Minister Siti encouraged ASEAN member states to reaffirm their stance in making the best efforts to address climate change with strong and effective actions. President Joko Widodo held a limited meeting on August 28th to discuss solutions to address air pollution in Greater Jakarta area. The president assigned relevant ministries and government agencies to take decisive actions in tackling the issue. The president highlighted resolving air pollution requires concerted efforts from all parties. He explained various mitigation efforts would take time and lowering pollution levels is a gradual process. Deteriorating air quality in the Greater Jakarta area was caused by various factors. Data from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry showed vehicles contributed the most to air pollution at 44%, while coal-fired power plants ranked second at 34%. Minister of Environment and Forestry Siti Nurbaya Bakar said her office inspected 351 industries, including coal-fired power plants and diesel power plants, and identified 161 major pollution sources. Acting Governor of Jakarta, Heru Budi Hartono said, several measures been taken to improve air quality in the Greater Jakarta area, involving intergovernmental cooperation. These measures include street watering in Jakarta, a trial of spraying water from rooftops of high-rises, emission testing, and hybrid work policy for provincial civil servants. In addition, the provincial government expedited plans to transition to electric vehicles, including public electric buses. At the UN 78th General Assembly, Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi said Indonesia called on 3 actions to tackle the rapidly rising sea levels. First, the world needs to collaborate for prevention and mitigation. Second, enhancing international efforts for climate adaptation, including strengthening the resilience of coastal communities. Third, the foreign minister highlighted the importance of protecting the integrity of areas threatened by rising sea levels, including ensuring an international legal framework. Based on data from Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, the world's sea level risen by 20 centimeters over the past century. Indonesia denied Malaysia's accusation of transboundary haze after the neighboring country experiencing worsening air quality and blamed Indonesia's land and forest fires. Minister of Environment and Forestry Siti Nurbaya Bakar said such allegations were unfounded. She rejected Malaysia's claims there were 52 hotspots in Sumatra and 264 hotspots in Kalimantan. She assured Indonesia's strong stance against environmental damage and would severely penalize companies found to have caused forest fires. Head of Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysics Agency, or BNPB, Dwi Korita Karnawati, reported to the President the El Niño weather phenomenon was expected to continue well into the end of the year. President Joko Widodo held a limited cabinet meeting on El Niño to discuss potential threats from the drought brought about by the weather phenomenon. The meeting specifically discussed water availability, potential harvest failures, as well as mitigation and handling of land and forest fires. The Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysics Agency, or BNPB, estimated the El Niño-induced drought would persist until February to March 2024. Head of BNPB, Dwi Korita Karnawati said peak El Niño was likely in October and begin easing off in November. But the drought caused by the weather phenomenon was expected to persist well into the first quarter of 2024. She stressed the need to maintain high vigilance, particularly for wildfires. Minister of Environment and Forestry Siti Nurbaya Bakar said the land and forest fires in Indonesia razed more than 994,000 hectares from January to October. Of that total, The ministry records the burned forest area totaled around 66,000 hectares, or roughly 7%. The vast majority of wildfires occurred outside of forest areas, destroying a staggering 928,000 hectares of land areas.
Throughout 2023, a large number of infrastructure projects were officiated by President Joko Widodo, starting from the toll roads in Sumatra Island to East Nusa Tenggara, and also the launching of the first train track in the island of Sulawesi that connects Makassar to Parepare in January. Not only that, construction of the country's new capital city, Nusantara, has also been a highlight of this year's development after President Joko Widodo optimistically said that the country's Independence Day celebration will no longer be celebrated in Jakarta, but instead in Nusantara. Not only infrastructure, transportation system in Indonesia gained large attention following the launching of the newest mass transportation in Indonesia, the Wush high-speed train and the light rail transit, or LRT. The launching of the Wush especially made Indonesia the first country in ASEAN to have high-speed train link. Here are the stories we compiled for you on infrastructure development and launching of a number of mass transportation throughout the year.
The government officiated Kuil Kawangkoan Dam in North Sulawesi in January. The reservoir stretches across 157 hectares and has a capacity of 26 million cubic meters of water, or 26 billion liters. Construction of the new reservoir began in 2016 and cost around 1.9 trillion rupiah, or 122.6 million US dollars. The dam functions as a water source for agricultural activities as well as for flood prevention. President Joko Widodo inspected progress of the Bulungan Green Industrial Area project in North Kalimantan. The president envisioned the industrial estate to become one of the largest in the world. EV charging station is a key infrastructure in the drive towards green mobility. In March, State Utility (PLN) and State Bank (BNI) installed one such station in the Bogor State Palace, symbolizing Indonesia's commitment to reduce emissions. President Joko Widodo and some of his ministers rode on a newly built rail connecting Maros and Baru regencies in South Sulawesi province. The 80-kilometer rail is the first ever rail in Sulawesi. The section is part of the 145-kilometer Makassar-Parepare Railway, expected to be completed in 2026. The government plans to create a rail network across Sulawesi, connecting Makassar in the south to Manado in the north. The government assigned Lido area in West Java as a special economic zone, marking how private investment and public policy can go hand in hand. Located around 80 kilometers south of Jakarta, Lido offers industrial estates, resort, hospital, and an international standard golf course, movie studios, as well as farm and plantation areas. The Airbus A380-800, operated by Emirates Airlines, world's largest commercial aircraft, landed in Bali. The aircraft, with flight number EK368, departed from Dubai International Airport on June 1st at 3:49 a.m. local time and arrived in Bali on June 1st at 4:35 p.m. Central Indonesian time. The I Gusti Ngurah Rai International Airport became the first airstrip in Indonesia to accommodate such a huge plane. President Joko Widodo inaugurated expansion of FAVOUR Airport in Papua. Following the expansion, the airport has a runway of 1,650 meters long and a width of 30 meters, enabling it to accommodate aircraft like the ATR-72-600 turbo propeller. The airport expansion began in 2018 and was completed in 2022. The project was fully funded through state budget, costing 287 billion rupiah, or $18.5 million. President Joko Widodo inaugurated 1.2-kilometer Ciliwung waterway aimed at improving flood controls in Jakarta. The project was built by state construction firm Wijaya Karya and Jaya Konstruksi, costing a total of 1.2 trillion rupiah, or $77.5 million. The waterway was designed to divert excessive water flows to the East Flood Canal and Cipinang River in East Jakarta. President Joko Widodo inaugurated the Light Rail Transit, or LRT, operations. The 41-kilometer rail, which cost around 32.6 trillion rupiah or $2.1 billion, connects Jakarta with the satellite cities of Bekasi and Depok. The light rail would be further expanded to Bogor to provide more public transport alternatives, to reduce traffic congestion going to and from Jakarta, and to lower emissions. President Joko Widodo inaugurated Jakarta-Bandung high-speed rail in early October. The train service, which connects the country's capital with the capital of West Java, is called WUSH to signify its speed. The ambitious project of developing the first-ever high-speed rail in Indonesia marked the country's leap towards efficient and environmentally friendly public transport. Following operations of the train, the government is studying possibilities to extend high-speed rail to Surabaya, capital city of East Java. Kertajati Airport in Majalengka in West Java opened its doors for commercial flights. The airport served 7 destinations, namely Balikpapan, Banjarmasin, Batam, Denpasar, Makassar, Medan, and Palembang. Kertajati Airport would gradually serve more passengers and eventually becomes the main airport in West Java, replacing Hussein Sastranegara Airport in Bandung. President Presiden Joko Widodo inaugurated Cirata floating solar power plant in Purwakarta Regency in West Java. The solar plant has a capacity of 192 megawatts, making it the largest in Southeast Asia and the third biggest globally. The project would directly contribute to Indonesia's goal of reaching net zero emissions by 2060, as well as highlighting partnership possibilities between state utility PLN and United Arab Emirates-owned Masdar and intergovernmental collaborations.
country's 78th Independence Day this year was festive. Celebrations organized by the government at the State Palace and by Indonesians across the country and also overseas were held with lively events of festivities. This year's celebration, Indonesia broke world record by having the largest angklung performance with the largest angklung ensemble that consisted of 15,110 participants at Gelora Bung Karno Stadium. The 7-minute performance consisted of 2 songs, Berkibarlah Benderaku and Wind of Change, played one after another. Not only that, this year, the State Palace also hosted 2 fashion shows of kebaya and batik, entitled Istana Berkebaya event, which was held at the courtyard of Istana Merdeka, Jakarta. Also this year, a remarkable achievement was made by Indonesian singer Putri Aryani after successfully grabbing 4th place at the American talent show competition, America's Got Talent. And another highlight of the year was the performance of English band Coldplay, who performed and captivated tens of thousands of fans at Gelora Bung Karno. That story and so much more was compiled just for you. Let's have a look.
President Joko Widodo inaugurated the revamped Sukawati Arts Market in Gianyar, Bali on February the 1st. The 3 existing blocks were revitalized for 160 billion rupiah. The busiest arts and handicraft market in Bali houses more than 1,300 stalls and 95 kiosks, attracting local and foreign tourists alike. President Widodo expressed hope the revamped traditional market can attract even more visitors and become one of the tourism icons. President Joko Widodo witnessed the handover of C-130J-30 Super Hercules and A-1339 and C-130H A-1315 Hercules aircraft from Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto to TNI Commander Admiral Yudo Margono at Halim Perdana Kusuma Air Base in East Jakarta. The aircraft can carry military cargoes with total load of nearly 20 tons. President Joko Widodo inaugurated revitalized Besakih Temple in Karangasem, Bali in March, saying preserving is much tougher than constructing. The president encouraged all stakeholders to maintain one of Indonesia's important cultural heritage, as well as a sacred ground for Hindu majority Balinese. The temple, an attempt to preserve it, is a testament to how Indonesia embraces many cultural and belief systems. The TNI launched a national mangrove planting across 37 provinces to help spread climate awareness. The armed forces mobilized land troops, the Navy and the Air Force in the single biggest attempt of mangrove planting. More than 1.1 million seedlings planted in a single day, making it a national record. First Lady Iriana Joko Widodo mingled with around 4,000 ladies, all of whom wearing Balinese kebaya at Bali Art Center in Denpasar, Bali. The gathering, aimed at showing strong support for cultural preservation and respecting heritage, also held a parade that showcased elegance and beauty of kebaya. President Joko Widodo opened the month-long expo of the Jakarta Fair. The expo is a key agenda to mark the anniversary of Jakarta and has been consistently ranked as one of the biggest fairs in Southeast Asia, with thousands of participating small and medium enterprises, concerts, and other entertainments. The Batik Indonesia Foundation held the so-called Batik Nusantara Show from August the 2nd to the 6th at Senayan Park in Jakarta. The event aimed at introducing and promoting Indonesia's Batik heritage to a wider market. The event's theme was Batik Bangkit, or Batik on the Rise, aligned with post-pandemic economic recovery. Indonesia successfully broke the Guinness World Record in the largest angklung ensemble in the world. More than 15,110 people participated at the event held at Senayan Stadium in Jakarta on August the 5th. The Bamboo Pipe Ensemble performed 2 songs, Berkibarlah Benderaku and Wind of Change, in a medley totaling 7 minutes. The Guinness World Record judge Sonia Ushirogoji expressed appreciation and joy towards the beautiful sounding instruments. Istana Berkebaya event is part of a series of activities to celebrate the 78th Independence Day of Indonesia. The event aimed at spreading awareness and pride in local heritage, as well as strengthening unity and solidarity, which created the very essence of Indonesia's social fabric. President Joko Widodo led the ceremonies to commemorate the 78th independence anniversary. The flag-raising ceremony was held at Merdeka Palace in Jakarta on August the 17th. President Jokowi wore traditional attire Ageman Songkok Singkepan Ageng from Surakarta in central Java, while First Lady Iriana Jokowi wore traditional Balinese attire. Vice President Maruf Amin and his wife Wuri Maruf Amin wore traditional attires from West Sumatra. Istana Berbatik was held at Merdeka Palace in Jakarta on the evening of October the 1st, a day ahead of the National Batik Day. Istana Berbatik event is a fashion show aimed at introducing different varieties of batik from across the country. President Joko Widodo encouraged the general public to appreciate batik as a cultural identity. UNESCO acknowledged batik as an intangible cultural heritage, and the love for batik needs to be maintained by Indonesians across generations. President Joko Widodo led commemoration ceremony of the 78th anniversary of the Indonesian military at the National Monument or Monas in Jakarta on October the 5th. In his address, the President expressed appreciation for dedication and professionalism of all soldiers as he defenders of the nation. British band Coldplay held its first ever concert at Gelora Bung Karno Stadium in Jakarta on November the 15th. The band was conducting a world tour and visited Indonesia after holding concerts in Taiwan. A solo performance by Rahmania Astrini opened the event's concert, while Coldplay performed 22 songs, including, among others, Adventure of a Lifetime, A Sky Full of Stars, and Sparks. President Joko Widodo officially kicked off 2023 Sail Cendrawasih in Samau Beach in Biak Numfor Regency in Papua. The week-long event was aimed at promoting marine tourism in Papua.
So there you have it, the year 2023 in review. Let us hope that all the achievements that we have accomplished can motivate us and propel us to go even further as a nation. And as for the shortcomings and unfortunate incidents, let us learn from them so we can tread more carefully among the challenges of next year. I'm Siska Becker on behalf of TVRI World, We wish you to enjoy the remaining of 2023 and have a better 2024. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you back soon on TVRI World. Until then, take care and Happy New Year.